Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be analyzing a phishing email on Any.run and we will start an investigation, and I also created some challenge questions for this particular investigation for the analyst. Let me also show you that. So what is the sender's email address and what is the URL address that the user clicked in? Or what's the file name that is downloaded after clicking the URL? What is the process ID that started the initial malicious connection? What was the suspicious connection IP addresses and ports that were used by PowerShell exe, which ran after initial execution? And also some other questions. There are 10 questions available, and I will also share those questions with you on the description of this video. So let's start. So this is an email file that was uploaded by another person on the internet. As you can see, the extension of it, MSG. And a good feature of Any.run here is that when you click this, Any.run automatically parses the information of the mail header. So you don't have to just open the email on Any.run to just look at the headers, because it automatically does it for you. As you can see, this is the from field carlosandres@gmail.com. We also see some other signatures, but this is coming from a Gmail account that was sent to a lot of victims out there, because we don't see all the recipients of the email. Okay, so let's pass the header analysis because we are not focused on that. And there is a malicious URL that was mentioned here. We will also see that. So first of all, user receives an email from Carlos Andres, that is Factura Electronica, a receipt of some electronics, I believe, and on the bottom, contrasena, I believe that's for the password, because I used 1680 while I was unzipping the file, and it worked. So after going through Google Docs, it automatically the link automatically downloads a file, and you can unzip that file with the password of 1680. And after you unzip it, you guys can see that this is a Windows batch file. So everything the hacker wants, they can run code on the system. Okay, user then unzips the file and then runs the file as the administrator, as you can see, and then bad stuff happens, blah blah. So this was the story, and let me also take it this far, and let's start by giving some answers. So first of all, yes, on the right hand side we will come to the processes to talk about what happened too, but let's start from the basics. Let's think of a scenario. You're analyzing a phishing email. If you're a security analyst, this is your 50% of the daily workload of your job, right? Maybe 50% or 60% will be phishing emails, analyzing phishing emails. Start from the obvious. What is the sender's email address? We can see on the MSG details here, it is Carlos Andres, and the email is carlosol01@gmail.com. So let's put it here. And coming to our next question. These are important questions because when you start an investigation, sender email address, that's important because you can then query on your email gateway for hey, if the attacker sent some spam email to hundreds of thousands of clients or maybe users on my company, you can check that. You can check if someone clicked the URL address that was mentioned in this example in your organization too. So these are important. So let's also copy the URL address. And the third one, which is what is downloaded, right? What is the file name the user downloaded after clicking? Okay, so for you to view what is downloaded, So everyone focuses on HTTP requests, connections, DNS requests, but there is also the files section on Any.run platform as well. So you can view and also download and see through the files as well. So as you can see, this is what, a text file. I can click on that and see the hex values on that, or the hash values that was created for this file. Our file is downloaded to the downloads folder, and the file that I was looking starts with FA, that actually starts with fact, so FAC. So as you can see, there are two files. One is compressed 3.64 megabytes compressed, and the unzipped version is 4.88 megabytes. This is oversized, but we can download and look at this one. I also did this example on the second link. I analyzed and put this file into VirusTotal, and I was surprised because let me go through the VirusTotal. So this is the content of the zip file or the tar file, so the archive. So as you can see, the same name, fact blah blah blank.bat, and you can see there are a lot of Yara rule matches or Remcos matches for some registry entries, or some other rules matches this, but no security vendor, no one at all is saying that, hey, this is malicious. And I mean, you can see last analysis date 1 day ago. So that's surprising. All of the security vendors that are mentioned here, they're not going to create an alarm, which is a bad thing for us, right? If you're using Fortinet, if you're using Bitdefender, good luck. Let's see the relations and behavior. We can see one domain associated with this file and one IP address. There's not so much going on VirusTotal right now, but in the dynamic analysis, let's see if it found something valuable for us. Okay, so there are some actions that we can take a look at. It adds some or modifies some registry hives that we should be taking a look at, like auto-run, or maybe some programs when you log on to the computer that runs. And there's also some unobfuscated PowerShell code right here that creates some values, and we can see some obfuscated base64 encoded PowerShell code as well in here. But our focus is on Any.run and how to enrich our investigation. Okay, so we have learned that the file name the user downloaded after clicking is this file. Let me also copy that. I'm also going to share this document with you guys on Medium as well. So our fourth question, what is the process ID that started the initial malicious execution? So I am referring to this command.exe, because that's when the user clicks the batch file that opens a command prompt that executes all the commands in the batch file. So what is the process ID? The process ID is right here. This is 2480. Okay, so the process ID will be 2480. Now the fifth question, what is the first suspicious connection made by PowerShell and which port? Which port? So in the batch file, there are some obfuscated and unobfuscated codes. So in the batch file, there are some obfuscated and unobfuscated code. But our focus is not on that, because as an analyst, you have limited time. And in that limited time, you have to gather and obtain some valuable IOCs. If you're a level 1, that's enough for you. Analyzing that code, that's level 2, level 3's job, okay? And we are only doing what a level 1 should do. So as we can see, it opens up cmd.exe and runs some code. And in here, we can see there are some lines, and here's our suspicious base64 encoded PowerShell commands that everyone is afraid of. And you don't need to go through and try to decode all the base 64 code here, but I did it before the video, and so you don't need to actually go through and try to deobfuscate all the code as you see here, because you don't need that, because you can see the unobfuscated code that was run on the system, because Any.run can do that. You can see PowerShell -v, that means a parameter -w, which is window hidden, so it doesn't open a window, and then it adds MP preference exclusion path C drive, so it adds a exclusion for Microsoft Defender to exclude every file that runs under C drive. So that's a defensive agent technique. So what were we looking at? What is the first suspicious connection made by PowerShell and which port? So let's focus on that. Let me go through the network and let's go through the connections. Let me go down, and at the bottom we can identify which process made a connection to which IP address, which domain, and what is that traffic. Also, I can click that and see the details of this traffic in hex or text format. Sometimes you can see the unencrypted data, like let's say a stealer malware sends information about the computer, like 4 gigabytes of RAM, the username, maybe the browser's cookie data, or crypto wallets or extensions that was installed on the browsers. They steal all that data and send this data to a Telegram channel or some website or some domain or some IP address. So here what we look for here is that the IP address, which is 191.88.251.13, and the port is, this is an unusual port, so 7770. So the answer for number 5 will be IP address, comma, and then 7770. Okay, number 6. What is the second suspicious connection made by PowerShell and which port? Okay, the next suspicious connection. So what is the second suspicious connection made by PowerShell and which port? I am asking this question because sending a request to geoplugin.net is not actually malicious, but the way the malware works is malicious, because the malware tries to know, hey, where am I running? Am I in Europe? Am I in America? Am I in what currency is being used when I'm running? And it gets a lot of data. So geoplugin.com is a basic website. So the malware sends a request to the geoplugin.net, and then we can also see the contents. Let me go through the text, and we can also see the data. Hey, what is the request? What is the status? And this is all the data that the malware got from geoplugin.net. And by looking at this information, maybe malware decides to stay dormant in the machine, or it can execute some malicious commands on the system based on the output of this query. So this was the answer for the number 6. So the IP address, comma, and the port is 80. Coming on to number 7, which is what is the registered scheduled task name by the malware? We have to go through the process part here. And on the third line of PowerShell exe, if I click on that, and if I click for more info, I can see the command line. As you can see, PowerShell.exe console get scheduled task execution, blah blah. So it does a lot of things for us. And let's say you're trying to weave other processes at the bottom, so you can click every process that run on the system, and here at the process ID of 1992, we can see the schedule task, new schedule task trigger at logon action. Let's identify the name here. The task name is OneNote space 96245. So this will be our answer. You guys are wondering, hey, why are you asking for this one? Because this will be an IOC. If you match or detect any action, let's say you are running Sysmon, and in Sysmon there is a event code for new schedule task created, and you can create a detection rule, maybe some kind of Yara rule, to detect, hey, if any of my computers, any of my users' computers is infected. So let me also paste that. And coming on to number 8, what are the suspicious domains that the malware tried to resolve after execution? So I am referring to these two domains. Let me go through the DNS requests. So these are also identified as malicious by Any.run. So Any.run does a lot of things for us. It automatically does reputation check. And let's say you don't understand a command line. That's all right. I also don't understand some of the command lines parameters. We don't memorize all the parameter names and what they do and what is their definition. We have to Google it. But after the emerge of ChatGPT and the AI revolution, they added this. So if you click this symbol here, it will give a short, brief report about what this command does to the system. So you can just read it through. Hey, this process observed is the execution of PowerShell command to register a scheduled task. So just like I said, it creates a scheduled task on the system. And even if you don't know the parameters or what is PowerShell.exe, you can understand and take in a lot of information from here. So that's a very good option in Any.run. It's still in beta version, but I really like this version, this feature. Okay, so let me close this one. So at the bottom, let's see, after creating the scheduled task, the malware doesn't do anything. I believe after maybe looking at the geo plugin output, it maybe stopped or it doesn't send any information. Okay, let's also look at the answer. What is the suspicious domains? So let's give our answers for question 8. What are the suspicious domains that the malware tried to resolve after execution? So based on Any.run output, we can see that Enero 20 conip.com, this is absolutely malicious. And geoplugin.net is not necessarily malicious, but we see that every malware tries to know where it was run at. So that's why if some program tries to check in and send a query to those websites or services, that's a malicious action. Let's go over 9. What path is excluded by PowerShell for defense evasion purposes? We have talked about this in right here. So where was it? Okay, it's here. As you can see from the PowerShell.exe process ID 223332, add MP preference exclusion path C drive. So C drive is our answer. And let's go over to the last question. What is the malware family name or malware family type? So when you upload a sample to Any.run, it automatically knows and takes it through some YARA rules and some other detection type rules, and it automatically gives you, hey, this is a Remcos remote access Trojan. It is kind of a keylogger, and it gives the hacker to remotely maybe execute, do something on the system. So let's put Remcos or keylogger as answer for the question 10. Let's say Remcos / keylogger. Alright, so we have analyzed the sample from Any.run and we have found our answers. So in our SIEM, we can search in our email gateway, we can search for this particular source email address. Hey, if there is an email coming from this email address, karansal01@gmail.com, we can search on our proxy about this URL particularly. Okay, so we can look at the URL in our proxy logs. We can look at the email address in our email gateway if you have. Most of the companies have one, and if you have SIEM enabled and you collect and aggregate logs to the SIEM, you can look at for these IP addresses. You can also create some detection rules for these IP addresses, because most of the malware tries to know the region that it is running. That's why the geolocation.net is kind of serious detection rule, because you can identify a lot of malware, not particularly this one, because a lot of malware tries to use some free geolocation services to identify, hey, where am I running at? What country am I in? What is the currency here? Here are 2 domains. You can also search for the domains in your DNS logs. If you're using a DNS security tool, you can also search in that. I believe that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I will try to generate more content like this one and do some investigations on the channel. I'll see you next time.